It was nice to have an us day, a day that got back on Saturday and Sunday off, and have a Monday that was kind of a day that we needed to get back in touch with ourselves a little bit and handle actions, handle some things offensively. Most of our time was spent on the defensive end, but obviously felt good coming out of East Lansing. Thought we withstood a lot of things, thought we played great the first half, and then we made plays. So that's a good thing this time of year. Any road win is terrific. Obviously now we get a very, very talented Ohio State team, one that may have some of the best offensive players in our league, probably have the best freshman in the league, who's maybe one of the best players in the league when it comes to draft status. Branham's terrific. We all know about EJ, Zed Key, guys that are very, very capable on the offensive end. You had Wheeler, a guy who's been in the league for a long time. And, so this becomes a very old team that has a stud freshman. So they do a lot of things very well. And, obviously played them 3 times last year. And thank goodness Dwayne Washington's not here. But again, it's a very, very good Ohio State basketball team and one that we'll have to play awfully well against.
Yeah, Brad, with every game seemingly having a big impact towards the Big Ten race, how have you helped the guys, or how have they responded in staying locked in the moment?
Not talked about it. Ohio State, Ohio State, Ohio State. Next game up. We literally have not talked about it. It's about trying to play our best, and our guys aren't dumb. They know, they know what's at stake. So there's no sense to really beat on it and talk about it. We've got our hands full with 4 games left, and the next one happens to be Ohio State.
Brad, given the uniqueness of Andre, and I think he's probably at 17 roughly practices now, how have you guys found the right approach to get him worked back into this, just with games coming so quickly here?
Yeah, yes, guys, days where we could actually get him on the practice court, and I like mixing lineups up. I've always been a guy that likes looking at different lineups a couple days out, and that's been advantageous because I can play he and Trent together. I can play them against each other. We can work on things that that we didn't get to when he wasn't here. So every day that he's out there is a day that he gets more comfortable. He's getting in much better shape. That's becoming very evident. He's come a long way here in the last 10 days, 2 weeks, and we're going to need him. There's no doubt about that. We'll need him down the stretch.
You talked about needing Andre, but you seem to be using him in a little bit of a different role than you did early in the season, and even last year, playing him off the ball a little bit. What's the process been of trying to get him comfortable playing in a different role offensively a little bit?
Yeah, it's just a matter of, we're putting him in a lot of the same situations we put Io in, and it wasn't where he had to, right away a ball screen and put him in a play and, 6 seconds the possession's over. It's just a matter of getting him into an action. Sometimes he starts off of it, sometimes he's on it. Some of it's matchup based. So it's just a matter of lengthening a possession and then getting him in a ball screen. Same things we did with Io, we're doing with him.
And then I guess kind of at the end of the game, you had Andre and Trent on the floor a lot kind of there at the end. What do you kind of like about those lineups and having them both kind of on the floor as ball handlers at the same time?
Well, they're both really good defenders. I mean, really, really good defenders. I mean, nobody talks about how good – everybody talks about how good Trent was. Andre Curbelo is an elite defender. And, that's the best part of, trying to get him back in shape is the ability to fight ball screens and the ability, with his length, he blocked a jump shot, in the Michigan State game. He's tremendous. He's got great anticipation. He's a great defensive rebounder. So those things are my major focuses for him are on the defensive end. We miss him as much defensively as we do offensively.
How has he handled that conditioning piece where maybe he's a guy that's used to being able to do what he kind of wants on the court, but he's had to maybe build back up to that?
Yeah, you don't miss 75 days without, losing. I mean, the weight room's the biggest part of it, as much as the just the lung capacity and all of that. I mean, it's the strength. And, he's working hard at that and ran yesterday and again. And, he's as you gain endurance, you gain confidence, and that's very evident.
Is there like one thing you're looking for, like a sign that'd be like, okay, he's maybe where he needs to be? I mean, just on that front.
Well, first of all, he's a gifted athlete, so he's capable of recovering quicker, than most guys. But I think the other piece to that is, he was able to play, in some pretty decent stints last year, in terms of being out there 6, 7, 8 minutes at a time. And that's pretty impressive for a freshman. But he's getting back to that now. A couple games ago, he asked out after 3 or 4 minutes. And, he's finding his way back into those longer stints without being fatigued.
Brad, we saw Curbelo out there late against Michigan State. Is that kind of a statement to how good he is on defense and how you trust him as a defender? And how is that a way for him to get on the court more and play more minutes up to, kind of where he was as a freshman?
Well, I think the answer to your first part, yes. I mean, there's no doubt we trust him. He's a very good ball handler. He's a guy that has he has a knack for making big plays and the right plays, and I trust his defensive ability. He's proven that. I think that as he continues to feel his way through this and get back to it, I'm gaining confidence, and we can't forget that we've also got one of the leading scoring duos in the country, and Plummer and him and Kofi, and one of the things we want to make sure is we got 3 really good guys at that spot, and we want to help keep them fresh and manage their minutes as well. So, I got a lot of confidence in all 3 of those guys.
Coach, with Brandon kind of coming on and scoring a lot more, does that change the scout on Ohio State and how you defend them? Now that they have 2 guys really that can put up 25 points on any night.
Well, they got 3 because Ed Key can go get buckets as well as anybody as well, and Chris has had unbelievable offensive teams there. They're very, very talented. Branham's 6'6", he gets downhill. He's a guy that the ball is in his hands, and they are setting tons of ball screens with him and playing out of that. And then you've got EJ as a pop threat. You've got EJ as a post-up threat. So Kyle Young plays a lot. The other night, Zed wasn't in as much. So they've got pick and pop threats at the other spots. And, it's a nice luxury to have when you've got guys who are versatile and can do a lot of things. But, Branham's pushed him over the top from that standpoint. He's just a guy that, gets downhill and scores, and they trust him with the ball as a freshman.
In late February, Brad, did you think your rotation would be 10-plus deep at this point?
I had close to that at SFA. Part of that was blowouts. But I was also pretty comfortable with it. I think I feel good about that. I think, one of the positives that really comes out of the hodgepodge that the fall was, or the preseason, was that we gained that. And we gained confidence, and guys got minutes, and guys got roles. And now we're seeing, Coleman start to play at a really, really high level again. And, so I'm excited about that.
How maybe unique is the Big Ten this season, where almost maybe half the teams, you guys included, could have a player to be like, yeah, we think he's the best player in the conference, and that hasn't changed maybe all season.
Well, I think the one thing that the league has this year that maybe it hasn't since at least the first year, I mean, every player Tom had his first year, I think, was a pro, or close to it, maybe McQuaid, but, Jaron Jackson, Cassius, Bridges, those guys were all can't miss. Tillman, those guys are all can't miss pros. But now they're spread out. I mean, now you're talking about guys that are, lottery picks and one and dones, and they're spread throughout the league, and yet there's a certain sense of scariness to that. Man, I mean, this league's got them. I mean, everybody's got them, and everybody's got guys who can really go score it, and that's hard to do because the defenses in this league are really good, and so it's the league's as talented as it's ever been, and it's got really good players, and it's got a lot of National Player of the Year candidates as well as Big Ten candidates. So it's the best it's been since I've been here.
When you think back to this process of getting Andre back involved in the rotation and getting him back into practice and just back involved in general, what's been the most difficult thing for you as a coach to kind of handle in this situation?
Well, first of all, I mean, I'm just glad he's back playing. The seriousness of that was there. I mean, I was concerned that he would be in trouble for the season. But I think anytime you play without a guy for a while, you get comfortable in a groove. You learn to withstand that. And now when you got to mix him back in, and he's really talented, and you want him out there because you trust him and you know what he's capable of doing, you can't just forget about the other team's, the other guy's chemistry, and that you can't forget about the fact that in this case, he didn't come back and be in a position to be in great shape. He wasn't that wasn't afforded him with this injury. So, it's been amplified, magnified times 10, because of those things. But, to his credit, he has been phenomenal. And, his work approach has been great. And so it's nice to have a guy that understands that.
Any update on Ben? Are you expecting him to be available tomorrow night?
Ben's in concussion protocol.
Brad, when Curbelo came into the program, how was his passion for defense then versus now, and kind of have you instilled that, as the program instilled that defense into him, or has that been him since day one?
Well, he's always had an uncanny ability to do the right thing on the defensive side. He's just that guy. He's got a great feel. He's got a great instinct. He's been taught the game at a very early age, so he knows concepts. And then it was just a matter of being, physically strong enough to, here's how we handle ball screens. Here's what we do. Here's how tough you've got to be, and then, demanding that he not do it 1 out of every 3 possessions, that he do it every possession. And, but he's been phenomenal on that side of the court.
What have your impressions been of Coleman over the last 4 games or so, and how did you guys get him back to this high energy point like this?
Yeah, I think that he's been great. I mean, he's made plays that nobody else on our team's making and can make. Blocks and great passes, and but most of it is his credit, and our staff is he has got his butt back in the gym. He's accepted coaching, and he's started work again, and with that, good things happen, and I keep saying that, but it's very true, and now his confidence has grown, and we've seen that in practice, and so you're not afraid to put him back in the game, and now he's playing at an elite level.
We've heard you use the back in the gym point a couple times when talking about him. Was that something, is it more now than it was a month and a half ago? I mean, it seems like you've made that statement a few times.
Yeah, I think one of the things that everybody has to go through is find out when adversity hits how you want to deal with it. You know, if you want to be a guy that blames everybody else and a guy that makes excuses, or if you want to be a guy that just knuckles down and gets back in the gym and works works your way through it. And you know, there's no easy way to do that. And yet the season's not stopping. We couldn't stop and wait on Coleman. We had a lot of conversations. Our coaches, kept talking to him, and to his credit, I mean, that kid wants to win in the worst way. He's ultra competitive, and you know, he had to go through some of that. And now he's coming out on the other side of that much better. And happy for him, happy for us.
Was that play where Ben got, I don't know, I mean, obviously he was hit in the face because he had like the immediate black eye. Was that ever explained to you? I don't think they reviewed
Yeah, it was incidental contact.
Okay.
It was truly incidental. I mean, it was not. I didn't feel like there was anything other than just kind of being in the, you know, who was the official? Lewis Garrison here that Kofi blasted. Just kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you know, he got a pretty good shiner for it, and you know, and his eye was completely swollen shut, but you know, he came out of it with nothing broken, so that's positive.
You talked earlier about all the NBA talent that's in the league. EJ Liddell's obviously one of those guys who started to see his name back half the lottery, top 20. Where's his game improved the most in the last year when you watch him on film?
Probably a better question for Chris. I think the one thing that he's always proven that he can be a very good shooter. Last year was almost all as a 5-man, you know, where he was playing mismatched all the time, you know, with a big guy guarding him, and he was very successful doing that. But I think he's now proven that he can do that as a small forward, as a power forward. I think he's you know, his ability with the ball has gotten better. You know, they play him in a lot of different roles, but he's playing much more away from the basket this year. Not that he doesn't post, he still does, but you know, he's away from the basket more than he's been. And probably on the defensive side, he's grown there as well.
Seen some flashes from Andre and Omar in that pick and roll. I know both guys in that second unit right now. Where are they at in terms of progressing that, and how much further can they go? And obviously Andre can be very beneficial throwing those lobs to him. Yeah,
that's where, you know, Andre really excels, and Omar excels. They're roommates. They, you know, Dre's constantly talking to him, you know, about you know, what he sees, so where to expect things, and you know, pick and roll basketball is a lot of timing, a lot of work in terms of understanding where the ball's coming, how it's coming. You know, Andre Curbelo is as good a pick and roll passer as there is in the game, and you know, it's starting to develop into a really good chemistry, and you know, you add that. Both of them have great speed in and out of stuff. That really helps and enhances that, and they're starting to play that way.
I guess just one more with Andre. Just given how much, you know, you guys were planning on him early in the year, have you guys learned anything as a staff about trying to find somebody with that much usage and that much talent, and slowly and find the right balance to interject them into the season right now?
Yeah, that's been our whole challenge is the right way to utilize him, and keep a guy that needs usage, just like we did Io. You know, Trent played predominantly on the ball last year, and you know, Dre was on the ball some, and Io was off of it. Yet Io was in 76% of our ball screens, and so it's trying to find that same right combination that kept us in a perspective that everybody's getting touches, everybody's getting involved, and that's been one of the you know, trying to fit the right pieces together in the right way.
Jokingly, after the game in East Lansing, Kofi says you called him a coward because you didn't want to go to the line. I'm just curious, when you're addressing players, and I know that not everybody is the same, how do you get to the point where you know, okay, I can go to this guy and be this way, and then the other guy down the end of the bench, I can't be that way to him?
Kofi cussed me out the other day. And this is honest to goodness truth. Kofi cussed me out on Monday about his ball screen defense and not getting on his ass enough. And when you've got that kind of relationship, you know, and I mean, Kofi's special. Kofi's, there's not many Kofis, but there's also not many great players that don't truly want to be coached. Great ones want to be coached. The others are frauds. Okay, if they don't want to be coached, they're frauds. And so Kofi and I have that unique relationship. Io and I had it. And, you know, I could rip Io's ass one side, up one side and down the other, and he responded and he loved it. And it was he and I against the world then. And Kofi was the same way. And in a lot of ways, I do that with Trent as well. But, you know, you've got to find – everybody's motivated differently. And with Kofi, that's a way that cranks him up, that gets him going. And so, you know, gets me going too when he barks at me. So that's the way I think you have good relationships and you help young people develop.
You're obviously successful on the road at, the last couple weeks last year. Is there a way you can take advantage of having 3 of 4 at home to end this season? Just something maybe you can do differently?
I don't know. I think we've been pretty good both places, home, road. I think we our guys go to the hotel the night before here to, during home games. I think we handle things okay, and we can keep having our fans be like what we've seen the last 3 road games in West Lafayette, Rutgers, and East Lansing. I like our chances a lot, and we play off that energy. And so I think we're good in all wherever we play. We got to show and play the game.
As you prepare for E.J. Liddell again, I'm wondering about the weekend where you had him and Oscar and Terrence Shannon all in the same visit. And now you've constructed a roster that doesn't really have a traditional power forward, but playing wings there. Do you ever think back to that weekend, and do you ever regret any strategy about recruiting?
No, I'm like, God dang, those guys are good. I mean, shit, we were on the right dudes, man. We didn't get them because our programs we stunk. We weren't any good. But damn, were those guys good. I mean, you're talking about 3 guys that were really good players. Maybe 24 more wins. I don't know. To me, that's like, oof. We were on the right guys because they've all had great careers. But now hopefully we continue to bring those guys in, and we have been, and keep getting them.
We haven't asked you about Dane in a while. How is his progression with Fletch coming along?
3 workouts a day. 3 workouts a day. He's Fletch's new best friend. And I mean, he takes him to breakfast every morning. He monitors he was 284. He's 272 yesterday. He's starting to pick up everything we're doing with basic drills. He's helping on our scout team. He's doing everything that a guy who's setting out should do, and that's all you can ask.
Brad, is RJ healthy, or is there something you can update us about that?
In terms of
being able to practice today and play tomorrow?
RJ's had an appendicitis.
Okay.
He had an emergency surgery last night. He will be out.
Kofi and Drew Timmy, that same recruiting cycle as well. You got one of those guys.
Right guys. We had the right dudes in. All you guys that cover that crap, Man, we did some good shit. How about right about that? God dang. We got Kofi. We got the right one. But, whoa, Rob, you kind of made my day. I forgot about that. That was pretty good.
Coach, with the news on RJ, I assume that means we're going to see Luke Goody again back on.
You can think whatever you want
back
to
on the
think.
court.
We'll see.
He's been kind of the odd man out a little bit, but
No, he hasn't.
Well,
No, he hasn't.
Well, he hasn't played, but
No, he hasn't.
how's he looked in practice, and can he fill that role with the RJ sitting out?
He's made about every ball he's taken. He's made about every shot he's taken. He's been great. Luke Goody is going to be a terrific player. It's been more of a kind of a feel in games, and RJ got on a good run, and unfortunately had appendicitis last night and had emergency surgery.
Speaking of the freshmen, how happy are you with their progress, especially with RJ and Luke getting significant-ish minutes in the rotation?
I love all of them.
Yeah.
I've said it 100 times. This group of freshmen is going to be really good. Brandon Pajemski has been tremendous. He has 3 23-year-old guards in front of him, or 2, and another preseason All-American in front of him right now. But his minutes, because his versatility has grown, he is going to be tremendous. And we've all seen what these guys are capable of, and I have no problem putting any of those guys out there for minutes. Because they don't play doesn't mean they're a bad player. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. These 3 guys are terrific, and they fit everything that we're about here. They make the guys in front of them. They push them every day, and it will work out just fine for those guys.